They thought he was just another suspect, wrong place, wrong time. But in exactly 7 minutes, a badge would fall, a gun would drop, and a truth no one expected would explode in front of stunned witnesses. What happened next changed careers, shattered reputations, and forced an entire city to confront the very thing it tried to deny. I'll read till the last line, and don't forget to subscribe for more shocking true stories that the media won't dare to tell. Asterisk, the sun burned bright above a quiet Baltimore street when Agent Marcus Trenton, a 34-year-old black FBI field operative in a dark gray tailored suit, stepped out of a black Chevrolet Suburban to grab coffee before his briefing downtown, unaware that within minutes he'd be face down on hot asphalt, surrounded by drawn weapons and racial bias wrapped in blue. But the morning had started normal enough. A call from HQ about a potential cybercrime bust involving an insider at a major financial firm. Marcus assigned his lead with clearance above even local PD, carrying federal ID's sidearm, badged, tucked safely beneath his blazer, his mind already racing through case details as he ordered a simple espresso at the corner cafe. Waited, a frantic woman stumbled in, eyes wide, pointing out the window toward the street where Marcus's SUV was parked, screaming about a black man in a suit with a gun climbing out of a vehicle near a daycare, and within 60 seconds, the call went out, misunderstood, unverified, boiling with coded panic, triggering for nearby patrol cars to respond like a bomb threat had landed, screeching tires, sirens blaring, officers shouting as they converged like a SWAT team. For what they assumed was an active shooter, Marcus heard the chaos before he saw it. Turned calmly with his coffee in hand as the first officer screamed, "Get on the ground." Hands where I can see them, instinct kicking in. Marcus froze, slowly reaching for his ID, identifying himself calmly, repeatedly. "I'm FBI. My credentials are in my inner pocket." But the sight of his hand moving made one rookie officer panic, tackle him from behind, knocking the coffee flying and smashing Marcus's face into the pavement. Blood leaking from his nose as more hands yanked at him, yelling, knees digging into his spine, while his credentials slipped halfway from his jacket. Inches from a boot, bystanders pulled out phones, filming, gasping. Some shouting, he said he's FBI. But the officers, in adrenaline-fueled tunnel vision, kept barking commands over each other, cuffing him aggressively, guns still drawn, until a voice cut through the noise like a gunshot, commanding, furious, and unmistakably in charge, "Stand down. That man is federal." The voice belonged to SAC Special Agent in charge, Linda Vasquez. Marcus's superior, a Latina woman with 20 years of fieldwork under her belt, who had been monitoring the scene through Marcus's encrypted comms and rushed in when the audio turned violent, and as she approached, flashing her own badge. A collective realization dawned on the officers. They'd just assaulted a federal agent during a lawful operation, racially profiled and publicly humiliated him, unaware that their every move had been recorded not just by phones, but by the surveillance van parked discreetly across the street. Marcus was helped to his feet, bloodied and silent, eyes burning. With quiet fury as one officer stammered, "We thought he'd fit the description." But Linda snapped, "You mean he fit a color?" Her voice like acid before she demanded names, badge numbers, and called internal affairs on the spot, triggering a wave of panic among the officers. One of whom, Lieutenant Hayes, tried to dismiss it as a misunderstanding, but what no one knew yet was that Hayes had a history of stop-and-frisk complaints, mostly targeting men who looked like Marcus, and the footage of the incident, particularly a moment when Hayes's body cam recorded him saying, "Could be a gangbanger in a suit for all I know," would soon ignite national outrage within. 7 minutes of the first call, Marcus went from federal agent to felony suspect to national headline. What followed was a storm of consequences that exposed more than just one incident. An FBI-led inquiry revealed that the precinct had improperly flagged over 200 citizens of color as potential threats based on biased criteria. Using a profiling system later linked to a discredited training manual, Hayes had quietly distributed through unofficial channels, and while Marcus received a formal apology from the mayor and a private one from the police chief, He wasn't interested in handshakes. He pressed charges, civil and criminal, and became a reluctant but powerful figure in the conversation around racial bias in law enforcement, even as he continued working cases, refusing to let the incident define him. But the twist that truly shocked everyone came 3 weeks later, during a closed-door hearing. One of the officers involved in the takedown, Officer Breyer, confessed under oath that he had recognized Marcus's badge during the scuffle but said Hayes ordered them to go through with it anyway, claiming the badge might be fake, that some gang members buy those online. A lie that collapsed under scrutiny when Breyer, fearing the consequences of a federal cover-up, turned whistleblower and leaked texts showing Hayes had instructed subordinates to treat any armed black male as a potential gang member. No matter what ID they flash, a message that buried Hayes' career, leading to his arrest on federal obstruction and misconduct charges. While Marcus, though initially hesitant, agreed to testify before Congress on systemic profiling, his calm, articulate testimony broadcast live across the country, inspiring other federal agents of color to come forward with similar stories and igniting sweeping reforms, including a new DOJ mandate requiring all local departments to receive quarterly training on implicit bias. But perhaps most shocking of all was the final revelation that the original 911 caller, the woman who set the incident in motion, was not a random bystander, but a disgruntled ex-employee of the same financial firm. Marcus had been investigating a woman paid off to create a diversion long enough to allow a key suspect to escape during Marcus's operation, turning the whole incident from tragic misunderstanding into orchestrated sabotage, and when confronted, she confessed on video, sobbing, saying she didn't know they'd hurt him, but the damage had been done. The headlines written, the reputations ruined and reborn. Marcus, though scarred, stood taller than ever, knowing the sting of injustice had uncovered a deeper rottenness in doing so. Changed the game forever, not just for himself, but for every agent, every officer, and every citizen watching the footage from that hot summer day when the law turned on its own and truth fought back. Would you like a YouTube SEO viral package title, description tags, hashtags, etc.? For this, Story 2,